What's up everybody, DoolieRay here, and yes, I do still play MCOC. Sorry about this week, it was a bit weird for me, but I figured I would go ahead and get this video out because I've taken a look at a bunch of the comments I've been getting, and just in general, in live streams and stuff, I get a lot of rank up questions, and there's a wide spectrum of players that are in this community. There are people who are at my level, where I'm more focused on 5 stars or 6 stars, I'm doing the difficult quests and getting that content all the way done, but there's a lot of players out there that are at a level that I used to be at, where 4 stars are very important, and you're still doing Act 4, you're becoming uncollected, you're trying Master Mode in the monthly quest, you're doing the stuff that really helps you build up to a higher level. So 4 stars are very important. That's what I'm here to help you with today. There's like 130 or so characters in here, so it's really difficult to narrow down just 10 characters into a list that you should specifically rank up. So pretty much all the characters that you see here are good characters. There's nobody I would say is a terrible character. These are all 4 stars that I've had ranked up for a while, and they've all had their purpose. They've all served me well, but I do have a list of 10 or so. Well, it is a list of 10 4 stars that I do think are really beneficial to a questing team that you may want to run in these quests as you're doing them. So, kicking things off, we're going to start with number 10. Number 10. Captain America Infinity War is a newer character to the game. He came out earlier last year. Oh, it's last year now. He came out though, and man, he's got a lot of abilities that can be helpful to newer players, or to you if you're looking for somebody. He's got really good block proficiency, which means that he can take a lot of damage while he's blocking, and it won't do as much as it would to another character. And that's really nice when you're starting out the game. You're just learning how to parry. You're having to block a lot of attacks because you're not used to evading everything with dexterity. He's good in that way. He's also got a lot of damage on his special 2. He gets these what's called kinetic charges when he blocks, and they can build up to a stack of 5, and then when you throw your heavy attack, you put a fury on yourself, and you're able to do a lot of damage. And the special 2 with these kinetic charges and the fury up, a lot of damage. And I really like that. He's also got a bit of different abilities when he's awakened, and in his synergies, depending on class types with different characters that you have on your team, he gains benefit from that. So he's good to just have on a team in general. And beyond that, he's also good against characters with the unstoppable ability. So specifically, I'm thinking of Juggernaut. There's a couple of characters out there I'm not thinking of, but as long as you have 1 kinetic charge up, if you attack into an unstoppable character, as long as it's not a passive unstoppable, they lose the unstoppable buff. You just go right through it, and that is fantastic. Puts Captain America at number 10. Number 9. When you're going through these quests in the beginning, it's really nice to have a character that can regenerate and gain back health and still deal a fair amount of damage, and for that I rate X-23 as a very good character. I've had her for a very long time now. She's been in the game for a while, for a long time. And man, I really enjoy her abilities. She is similar to Wolverine. They both have bleed, they both have regeneration, but Wolverine X-23 does more damage than Wolverine does. She doesn't regenerate as much, but I found that doesn't make as big of a difference for me. I prefer to have a higher damage character, and she still gets regeneration. It's still plenty of regeneration for most of the quests that you'll be dealing with. And just as a newer player, it's nice to have a character that can gain back health without you having to put potions into that character. So yeah, X-23. Number 8. There are a lot of characters in this game with very annoying abilities. Think of Spider-Man, his evade. What a pain in the butt. MAGIK, her limbo damage is unavoidable. Well, that's where these characters who have ability accuracy reduction come in, and for that, Archangel is probably the best. As long as the character that you're playing against can bleed and be poisoned, he will shut down their abilities like nobody's business. He gets these things called neurotoxin debuffs that he puts up. They stop your opponent from healing at all. It completely cuts off regeneration, cuts off their abilities. Depending on your signature level, he does have to be awakened for this, by the way, but depending on the signature level, you will shut down their abilities. So pretty much, if you get 3 neurotoxin debuffs up on your opponent, man, you shut down their abilities, and it's fantastic. You'll also be dealing a lot of damage with this, so you really don't need to worry when you're using Archangel about just using your basic attacks. You really just want to focus, at least in my opinion, this is what I do when I play Archangel. I use heavy attacks and special attacks, and that's what I focus on. That's where you get the most bleeds on, that's where you get a lot of poisons, and just in general, Archangel does a lot of damage, and he shuts down ability accuracy. But be careful, because he is not that great against characters that can't bleed or be poisoned. And be poisoned. Number 7. I use the word utility a lot when I'm talking about characters in this game. And basically what I mean by that is that they have different abilities, and these abilities are able to be controlled, and they make it easier for you to win fights or control fights. And when I think of a character that has utility, there's few characters that are better than Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is a bit of a jack of all trades. He's got a lot of abilities, and if you can learn how to play him, he's a bit complicated at first, but once you get the hang of it, he is such a good character for so many situations. First of all, he's bleed immune, so he's just immune to any bleed. He's also got these abilities called judgments, these buffs he places on himself, or debuffs he places on his opponent. He's got 5 when he's awakened. He has a bleed, a regeneration, a fury, a power drain, and a heal block. And then he's also got this 6th judgment on his 3rd special. It places a damnation debuff onto the opponent, and what that does is it power locks them, heal blocks them, and fate seals them, so they can't gain any buffs at all. So basically, you nearly shut them down entirely. And once you use the special 3 and the damnation debuff runs out, everything resets and you get to do everything again. And they all stack up on each other. Each one lasts longer than the last. So you want to take a look at his abilities here. And when you finish a combo with a light attack, you put a bleed debuff on the opponent. When you finish a combo with a medium attack and he's awakened, you put a fury buff onto yourself. When you use the special 1, you have a chance to put a fate seal on the opponent. When you use your special 2, you can power drain them. When you use your heavy attack, you put a regeneration buff on yourself, and every time you hit your opponent, you'll regen a small amount of health. And then the special 3 has that damnation debuff, and it resets all your other judgments, and then you can do the whole thing again. And this just allows you so much control over all your fights. And I mean, I rate Ghost Rider highly for that. He doesn't have a lot of damage. That's the one downside I would say to the character. But with how much utility he has, how many abilities he can use, it's understandable that he wouldn't have a huge amount of damage. But he is still a fantastic character. Number 6. This is a bit more of an interesting character for me. It's a little bit new, but the more that I use him, the more I like him. KILLMONGER is just weirdly fantastic. When he's awakened, he deals extra damage. He gets this ability called Reverberation, where you'll be dealing damage to your opponent when they hit into you, and you'll just have extra attack as well. What I really like about him, though, is he gets a True Strike buff, which allows you to bypass evade champions and auto-block champions like Medusa or Infinity Man or MODOK. He's annoying to fight, right? The way that you get the True Strike buff on yourself is you attack into your opponent immediately after they use a special attack, so you just have to get in right after they use it, and the True Strike will be applied to yourself. It's a pretty long buff as well, so it lasts for a while, gives you a chance to get another special attack thrown at you, and you can just try and keep the True Strike up the entire fight, and that can be very, very helpful. On his special 2, which I love, he's got these indestructible charges he'll put on himself. He'll get 3 when you use it, and you don't take any damage when you get hit. It includes when you are blocking as well, so you lose a charge if you block. You don't take any damage, but you do lose a charge. But with these indestructible charges, you can actually take a special 3 without taking any damage, and I think that's pretty fantastic for long-lasting fights, and just in general, I really enjoy the ability. His special 3 is a bit interesting. As you're going through the fight, you'll be putting bleeds on your opponent, and over time it'll keep track of how many bleeds you put onto the opponent, and up to a maximum of 50. When you use the special 3, you will apply all the bleeds that you applied before once again, and it's only once per fight, but you can apply like 50 bleeds at the same time and just deal a massive amount of damage. But yeah, KILLMONGER is just a fascinating character for me, and I really enjoy using him, and I think he's got a lot of use for newer players to the game. He's not too difficult to understand. Number 5. There are a lot of characters out there, a lot of nodes as well, that will put a bleed or a poison on you, or both, And it's frustrating because what are you going to do except for bring in a character who is immune to both bleed and poison and is awesome. And it's tough to say for sure. I do enjoy Iceman. I do like Iceman a lot, but I actually prefer Sentinel as far as characters who are immune to bleed and poison go. He's got a wide array of abilities, and he's one of those characters that I feel like has really flown under people's radars. I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves because I find him to be a very, very good character. Not only is he immune to bleed and poison, but he can build up these analysis charges on his opponent whenever they use the same attack repeatedly. So even if they're blocking and you're attacking into their block, you'll be building up analysis charges up to a maximum of 100. And once you get to 100 analysis charges, Sentinel is a beast. His special one puts a heal block onto the opponent, which is nice against annoying champions who like to regenerate a lot of health. He also, on his special 2, deals a butt ton of damage. He puts 5 incinerate debuffs onto the opponent, and you can just watch their health melt away. It's pretty great. His special 3, when you use it for the first time, puts an armor up buff onto yourself, which is a very, very good armor up buff, I should say. It's you still don't want to get hit, but it actually does a great job of reducing the damage you'll be taking. And when you use the special 3 for the second time, you'll actually regenerate. You'll get rid of the armor up buff and you'll regenerate based on how much health you've lost. So the less health you have, the more health you're gonna regenerate when you use the special 3 for the second time. And you can use this throughout the fight. So he's a sustainable champion who's also immune to bleed and poison. He does a lot of damage, and he's pretty easy to use. So I do rate Sentinel very highly. Number 4. Now this is a character that I don't know as much about. She's a bit newer to the game. I haven't had too much of a chance to play with her. I've played against her a lot. But Domino seems to be a pretty great champion, even unawakened, to be using on offense. Based on her abilities here are are huge. I know I'm expected to go through this and read all of it, but I really don't want to. I'm sorry, guys. I'll just tell you what I know about Domino. She gets a lot of crits throughout the fight. The game will keep track of that, and when you use your special 3, it'll deal more damage based on how many crits you've had. She also reduces ability accuracy of opponents. She gets this buff on herself called Lucky, which helps her to evade, and it gives her other advantages. And she also puts unlucky debuffs onto her opponent whenever she fills a bar of power, and they will gain or get debuffs, or their abilities will be reduced. And she does a lot of damage. She reduces ability accuracy, and she just seems to be a good character for a lot of different situations. I don't know too much about her, but I know that she deserves to be rated on this list. At least that's what I think. So if I'm wrong, if I'm right, let me know in the comments down below. If you know more about Domino than me, it'd be really helpful if you could tell me more about her, at least when she's used on offense. Number 3. This character used to be the top dog. Blade is still a great character. He may not be as used as he once was, but he is still fantastic. He gets regeneration when he's awakened. You just hold your block. It drains your power, but you will regenerate a fair amount of health. And that's fantastic, but not only that, when you'll be putting a lot of bleed debuffs onto your opponent, and as you do, you gain power from these bleed debuffs, and you can just begin to rotate through your specials, and you'll be dealing more and more damage. He's also got this ability called Danger Sense, which is very helpful against annoying characters to fight like Dormammu, Mephisto, Magik, just characters you usually have a hard time against. He reduces their ability accuracy, he gains attack rating as well, so he's doing more damage, he's stopping their abilities, and that's pretty great. But he's also got some synergies that make him even better with Ghost Rider against any villain that you play against with Blade. He'll gain Danger Sense, so he shuts down their abilities and deals extra damage. And with Spider-Man, he gains extra damage when he's in his Danger Sense mode. So, Blade, still a great character. Number 2. This game is all about power control. You do not want to let your opponent gain power, get a special 3, destroy you. You don't want it to happen. So, number 2 spot goes to the ultimate power control character, Magik. Magik is super simple to use, and that is kind of what makes her awesome. Her special 2 is the attack you want to use to control your opponent's power. What it does is it drains their power, and you steal it for yourself, so you gain power. So you drain their power, you gain power, you power lock them as well, so they're just not gaining power in general. And I mean, that's it. That's the game. When she's awakened, she gains her limbo abilities, which allow her to gain back health that she's lost. Once she's passed a bar of power and that limbo timer is running, any damage you take will be given back to you. She does extra damage against characters with buffs when she uses her special 1 and her special 3. Her special 3 especially does a lot of damage depending on how many buffs your opponent has, so against characters like War Machine and Groot, she's great. And beyond that, she's an amazing champion for power control. She doesn't have the highest amount of damage, but with the ability that you have to control your opponent's power, even if a fight is long and drawn out, it's doable because you're not going to have to deal with special attacks. Before I say who I've rated as number 1, I will say there are a few honorable mentions I should talk about, and I mean, looking at it now, there are a few people that should be on this top 10 list that I just didn't get on there. There's so many characters, and a lot of good characters at that. Corvus Glaive deals a lot of damage. He takes a bit more thought when you use him, because he gets a limited number of critical hits, but he can deal some major damage. Hulk is not as good as he used to be. He gains more attack as he loses health. Star-Lord needs to be duped, but once you have him duped, he's a monster, because if you can keep a combo, you'll be dealing more damage based on how high that combo is, and some of that damage can get insane. Medusa is great for shutting down robots and just dealing damage in general. Dr. Voodoo is good for power control. I mean, all the characters you see here. Who am I forgetting? Scarlet Witch, she needs to be awakened, high sig level, but there's so many good characters as 4 stars that you can rank up. Number 1. But the number 1 spot is going to go to Hyperion. Hyperion has been one of my favorite characters for a long time now, and I've had him for a while now too, and just the more I use him, the more I find he's useful for. He'll be gaining constant power. That's what I like, is you can just gain constant power, throw your special attacks, and just get into a rotation however you want. He doesn't need to be awakened to be good either. When he is awakened, his buffs all gain extra duration, which is fantastic. It's great, but he doesn't need it to be a good character. On his heavy attack, you'll gain fury buffs, and those allow you to do more damage over time. His special 1 deals incinerate damage, puts incinerate debuffs onto the opponent, so that's good for slowly melting away your opponent's health. His special 2 deals a lot of damage. It has a chance to stun, gives you an opportunity for, I believe, 2 heavy attacks, so you can build up those furies. His special 3 puts cosmic charges on you, which just increase your attack, make you hit harder, and give you even more power over time, and increase your physical resistance as well. He can also regenerate a bit. And he's immune to poison too. He's just got all this stuff, and put together, I just find him to be a very easy character to use and very helpful in a lot of situations. There you go, guys. That is my top 10. I hope this helps you out. It's a list. It doesn't actually mean anything. There's so many good characters in this game. If you have any more questions or anything, don't be afraid to ask in the comments down below. There's lots of helpful people in this community, including myself, who I will be happy to help you if you do have any questions about characters. But hopefully this helps you out. If you pull any of these characters in a 4-star crystal or anywhere, rank them up, because they are good. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Till I see you next, hang in there, may the RNG be with you, and peace out.